The full set list for Japan's next set, Munich Zero, Nihilist Zero, whatever it's called, it seems to have a plethora of different names, but the full set list is here, and very much like with Inferno X, this set list is pretty small, only comprised of 80 cards, before illustration rares and full arts and secret rares and all that kind of stuff. I have preemptively looked through the set list. This video is probably going to be very short, because I'm going to be honest, there's not a whole lot to talk about here, but there is still some noteworthy cards to be discussed. So without further ado and without any dilly-dallying, let's get into the set list. First up is Shaman, 70 HP grass Pokemon with the Flower Delivery attack for 1 grass. Search your deck for a grass energy and attach to one of your benched grass Pokemon. Now this may not seem like that good of a card, but this set is going to be applied on rotation, so we are going to be losing a lot of cards from rotation. A lot of those cards being energy acceleration and energy searching and all that kind of stuff, because we're going to lose stuff like Earthen Vessel as well as some other cards. So this card is basically like a grass searcher, and it also attaches to the Pokemon, so it's something worth talking about. If it sees play that's up in the air, we'll have to wait and see, but energy searching, energy acceleration, all that kind of stuff is going to be a bit limited going into rotation, so these types of cards will be very welcome. Next up, Vivillon, 120 HP grass Pokemon with the ability Big Wings. Once during your turn, you may have your opponent shuffle their hand, put all cards on the bottom of the deck, and then they draw 4 cards. So it's basically a one-sided judge for your opponent. Instead of shuffling the cards into the deck, it's very much like Iono, where they shuffle them, put them on the bottom, and then draw 4 cards. And this card would have been pretty broken, like if we still had the Spewper as well as the Scatterbug from Scarlet and Violet, because they could evolve on your very first turn that they were put into play. So you could just put Scatterbug down, evolve it into Spewper, and then evolve it straight into this Vivillon, and then judge your opponent on the first turn, which fortunately isn't going to be happening, but this card is still pretty powerful because we have the Grass Stadium, the Forest, so you can easily just do the same thing, just not on your first turn obviously. So you can put Scatterbug straight into Spewper, straight into Vivillon, and then you basically have a form of hand disruption for your opponent every single turn, which is very, very strong. Basically having this thing as a threat on the board to your opponent, it's like, yeah, you can search your deck for cards to use during your next turn, you know, a supporter or anything that you might need for the next turn, but I can just use Vivillon, put all those cards on the bottom of the deck, and give you 4 cards instead. It's a very, very strong card that might be splashed inside of grass decks. And another card that's meant to probably be played alongside Vivillon is Decidueye. Its ability, Sniper Eye, says if your opponent has exactly 4 cards in their hand, ignore all colourless energy in this Pokemon's attack cost. And then its attack for 1 grass and 3 colourless does 240 damage, and then you discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. So if you have something like Vivillon in play and you use its ability, or even then if you used a card like Judge, because Judge is going to be staying with rotation as it is getting a reprint with an updated mark, you can just slap a grass energy onto Decidueye and then do 240 damage to your opponent's active, and also discard an energy from that Pokemon, which could set your opponent behind quite a lot, especially if you're up against something like Dragapult, which plays stuff like Neo Upper energy, so you can just get rid of that Neo Upper energy, and now they're going to need 2 energy attachments to get that Dragapult powered back up, and it basically just forces your opponent to burn resources to get stuff powered back up, but then during the next turn, you can just do it again. Also, a thing to note about this card, it says, ignore all colourless energy in this card's attack cost, so if you have something like Relicanth in play, you can use the Dartrix Pre-Evolution's Phaser Shot for no energy at all, and that attack is pretty strong. Discard all energy from this Pokemon, in this case you don't discard any, choose one of your opponent's Pokemon and do 90 damage to that Pokemon, so you can have a Bench Snipe for no energy, and a 240 damage attack for 1 energy that also discards an energy. Very, very strong card. And also, again, we have the Grass Stadium, so you can immediately evolve up into this, immediately evolve up into Vivillon, use Vivillon, and then attach a grass and just instantly attack with this card. Very, very powerful. I imagine it's probably going to see a lot of play. Considering that pre-post rotation, we're going to have a lot of grass weak decks in the format. Like we have stuff like Lucario, we have Absolbox, or any dark Pokemon in general. We have Zoroark, we have a couple of new Pokemon in this set that are weak to grass. Grass seems to be a very strong deck moving into rotation. Next up, Salazzle EX with its nasty plot for 1 fire. Search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your hand and then shuffle your deck. Pretty okay, I guess, but its second attack, Fatal Nail, is a little bit stronger. It just costs 2 fire energy, does 100 damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned and burned. and then you switch this Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. So with Poison and Burn, during checkup your opponent's going to be taking an extra 30 damage, 10 from Poison and 20 from Burn. They do flip a coin to heal from Burn, but with Poison they're going to have to retreat out or evolve it, because if you evolve a Pokemon it does recover from all status conditions. But one key thing about this card is that you switch it with one of your benched Pokemon, so you could actually switch it into the Petulant from Shrouding Fable that says that your opponent's active Pokemon takes, I believe it's 5 extra damage counters from Poison, instead of taking an extra 30 damage from the Tickups. They're going to take like an extra 70, 80 damage I think from Tickups. So you do 100 damage, Poison and Burn, and then you switch into the Petulant, and then during the checkup they're going to take a bunch of damage from Poison and then also the Burn damage, and if they don't retreat out of that Pokemon or evolve it, they're going to take even more damage for when the turn passes back over to you if they don't take out that Petulant. Very interesting and very strong combo. Next up, Turtonator with its Thorny Shell. When this Pokemon takes damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon while it is in the active spot, discard an energy from the attacking Pokemon. Pretty decent just like wall that you can just put up as like a threat. So if your opponent hits it, they're going to lose an energy. Another thing that you could possibly swap into with Salazzle. So you attack, Burn and Poison, switch into this, and then if your opponent attacks this, they're going to lose an energy, which obviously is going to set them back quite a bit, because then they're going to have to waste resources getting it back, and if it's a special energy then they can't get it back, all that kind of stuff. Pretty decent card that might end up becoming a bit splashed in some decks, I guess, because you could just put it as a wall. If your opponent attacks it, they lose an energy, so on and so forth. Next up, Dugong with its Wash Out. As often as you like during your turn, you may move a water energy from your bench Pokemon to the active Pokemon. We do lose Baxcalibur with rotation, which could attach as much water energy as you want from your hand. This doesn't do the same thing, but it is kind of similar. You're basically able to move all the water energy from your bench Pokemon onto the active. So if you have a bunch of water energy on your active, you can retreat it out, bring in a new active, and then use Dugong to move all that energy onto the new active to power it up and get it ready for attacking. Pretty decent card. Up next is Mega Starmie EX with its Jet Blow, 120 damage for 1 energy. And it also does 50 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Pretty decent. Could be splashed in some types of decks, you know, just 1 water energy and you can do 120 and a 50 bench snipe. Pretty good. And then its second attack, Nebula Beam, free colorless, does 210 damage, and the damage isn't affected by weakness or resistance or any other effects of your opponent's active Pokemon. So it's basically kind of like a shred for 210. Free colorless, that's like kind of easy to power because you could use something like Dugong, but I think this Pokemon is mainly going to be played for the first attack because it just makes the card more splashable instead of other decks. Next up, Aurorus with its Tundra Wall. While this Pokemon is in play, all of your Pokemon that have a water energy attached take 50 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. The ability does not stack. Pretty decent at helping you like build up resistance to certain Pokemon. Taking 50 less damage can actually be pretty relevant, especially with stuff like Dragapult hitting 200. And like if Dragapult attacks this and it has a water energy, it's not going to get KO'd, it's only going to take 150. And for some Pokemon like Mega Starmie, it's instead going to take 3 attacks against like certain decks. It kind of just messes up maths for a lot of different decks when it comes to dealing damage. This attack is also pretty decent, 150 damage for 2 water and a colorless, and during your opponent's next turn the defending Pokemon can't attack. Pretty decent. It is a fossil, however, so you are going to have to bench the fossil, which is an item. So if you are under Badoo or Frillish or Jellicent Lock, you can't bench it because it is still considered an item card despite you playing it as a Pokemon. Next up, Mega Clefable EX with his ability Wings of Light. Prevent all effects of your opponent's abilities done to this Pokemon. Not really sure what could be affecting this. I guess like if you have an ability that says like burn the active Pokemon or poison the active Pokemon, it won't affect this, so I guess that's kind of cool. Or any ability that says like turn off abilities, but even then that's like meh in a way. And there's attack Shooting Moon for 2 psychic, does 120 damage, and then you can discard up to 4 energy cards from your hand. Keep in mind it just says energy cards, doesn't have to be psychic energy, and if you do an extra 40 damage for each card discarded in this way. So discarding 4, that's an extra 160 damage for a total of 280. Pretty decent, and you can discard 4 of any energy, doesn't have to be psychic, but energy recursion is a little bit iffy. We do have stuff like energy recycler which shovels them into the deck, and we still have energy retrieval, so you can get 2 from the discard into the hand, so that's okay. But even then, 280 damage for basically the cost of 6 energy, I don't think is worth it. We'll just have to wait and see. It could be good. It is a psychic type, so you obviously like have like the bits of psychic support that we still have post rotation. Obviously don't have Gardevoir and all that kind of stuff, so we'll just have to wait and see. Next up, Aromatisse with its Fragrance Collection. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for 2 psychic energy, reveal them, put them into your hand. Again, something like this is worth talking about because it gets you energy out of the deck. Could be paired with a Mega Clefable, you never know, but it is a way of searching out energy because that is something that we're going to be lacking post-rotation, so it is something to consider. Up next, Barbanacle with its Stone Arms. Once during your turn, you may attach a basic fighting energy from your hand to one of your fighting Pokemon. It's decent. It's a stage 1 that can help accelerate fighting decks in which you're not really going to have a whole lot. I guess it's good in like something like Mega Lucario, I suppose, as a way to help get bench Lucarios powered up, but I think it's more meant to coincide with the main cover card of this set, Zygarde, which we will get to later, as that card is interesting to say the least. Next up, Tyrantrum, the other fossil Pokemon with its Tyranno Guts ability that says if this Pokemon has a special energy attached, it gets an additional 150 HP. That's pretty good. This Pokemon goes up to 320 HP just for having a special energy attached. And then its attack for 1 fighting and 1 colorless does 160 damage, and then you flip a coin until you get tails. For each heads, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Not gonna lie, pretty strong. Slap a special energy on this thing, it's now 320 HP. Put something on like Hero's Cape or Luxurious Cape for an extra 100 HP, it goes up to 400 HP. And its attack is pretty decent, 160 damage, and then you can just mill your opponent a bit. The only downside is, again, it's a fossil, so you are going to have to get the fossil into play and then evolve into Tyrant and then Tyrantrum. I don't know if you can rare candy fossils. Someone might have to let me know in the comments, but I don't think you can rare candy a fossil into Tyrantrum. You might be able to, I'm not sure. You'll have to let me know, because if you can, that is pretty strong. Next up, Hawlucha with its Revenge Kick for 1 fighting energy does 30 damage, but if any of your benched Pokemon have a damage counter on them, it does 60 more damage. 90 damage for 1 fighting energy is very strong, a very good form of revenge attack that could be good like early into the game or late game to take out certain types of Pokemon. Like 90 HP is a very good threshold. It knocks out stuff like Dracloak and just like a bunch of random mid-stage evolutions. It knocks out a bunch of basics. It's pretty strong, can be splashed inside of fighting decks. Up next is a Mega Zygarde. It's the cover card for this set, and it's like pretty mixed. 3 fighting energy, Gaia Wave, not Giga Wave, 200 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. 200 damage for 3 fighting is quite a hefty cost, especially because it has no colorless requirements. You have to use fighting. But I guess we have stuff like Barbanacle, which can, I guess, help get it powered up a little bit. And its second attack for 5 fighting, Nullifying Zero. For each of your opponent's Pokemon, flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 150 damage to that Pokemon. It's a coin flip attack, and for 5 energy, it seems pretty powerful, but it's honestly not that good. It takes too much time to get powered up, and it's a coin flip. It's a 50-50 chance type of attack. It's alright, but it's just kind of iffy here and there. It is the new highest HP basic Pokemon at 310 HP. Next up, Gengar with its ability Infinite Shadow. If this Pokemon will be knocked out by damage from an opponent's Pokemon, instead of discarding it, return it to the hand. Discard all other cards attached to this Pokemon that are not Pokemon. Now, I'm not sure if it's still considered knocked out. Even if you return it to the hand, it might be. If it's not, then that's pretty busted. You know, this thing just stays around, your opponent doesn't take any prize cards. But I think it still would be knocked out, but you just return it to the hand and like all that kind of stuff. So it seems pretty interesting. You basically just can recycle it back and then put it back down again. And then its attack, Mind Jack, is like okay, 10 damage, and it does 30 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Pretty decent bench spread damage. Next up, Yveltal EX. It's Death Soul, which is definitely probably going to get changed when cards get translated. For 2 dark and 1 colorless, and knock out each of your opponent's Pokemon that has 50 HP or less remaining. That's pretty strong, especially because we have stuff like Badoo in the format. Just instantly knock that out. If it has some damage on it, you could maybe use Munkidori to manipulate a bunch of damage on the board. Say there's some 70 HP Pokemon, you could put them down to 50, put that one down to 50, put that one down to 50, and possibly take like 3-4 knockouts. Pretty strong. 2 dark and 1 colorless is a bit hefty because you will have to obviously take time powering it up, but we do have Toxtricity, which also puts damage counters on it that you can then move with Munkidori, so that's pretty decent. And its second attack is the exact same energy cost, 2 dark and colorless, for 210 damage, and then it can't use that attack next turn. But like, that's okay, you could bring something down to roughly about 50 HP on there, or maybe like move to make up for the remaining HP that it needs, and then use Death Soul and just knock out a bunch of stuff. It seems interesting. We'll just have to wait and see if it does get played. But it does seem pretty okay. Mega Skarmory, this one's like pretty bad, but I might as well mention it. 2 Metal and a Colorless, Sonic Ripper, shuffle all energy from this Pokemon into the deck. It does 220 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. It can hit bench stuff, which I guess is cool. It can knock out some random Pokemon here and there, like Fezandipity, like Teal Masks, all that kind of stuff, but it shuffles all the energy into the deck. It's not really that good. It does have free retreat, I guess. Next up, a Meowth with its last ditch catch. Once during your turn when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto the bench, you may search your deck for a supporter card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Lumineon v Tapu Lele GX is back, and this card is definitely going to see play. It also does have a very similar attack to Lumineon. For 3 colorless, 60 damage, and put this Pokemon and all cards attached to it into the hand. But this is mainly going to be used for obviously the supporter card. I can't wait for the amount of people that are going to slap this down and pick up boss's orders for game. However, this card is a colorless, so Rocket's Watchtower might see a lot more play because it does shut off this Pokemon. So that is something that you will have to be wary of, is that if your opponent has Rocket's Watchtower down, you can't use this ability, which is probably going to become a staple inside of decks. And that is it for the Pokemon. If there's anything that I missed that you feel is worth mentioning, do let me know in the comments. But of everything that I saw, those are the cards that I feel were worth talking about. So first up, Energy Swatter. Your opponent reveals their hand, choose an energy card you find there and put it on the bottom of the deck. It's okay, it's probably not going to see play, but it's like a decent like stun card, and it also gives you hand knowledge as well, which is pretty good. Pokepad, this is also coming in Ascended Heroes. This card is very, very good. Search your deck for a Pokemon that doesn't have a rule box, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. It's basically Ultra Ball, but you don't discard, and it only gets Pokemon without a rule box. Doesn't matter, the card is very, very good. It's probably going to become a staple in every deck post-rotation. It's pretty decent. Next up, Core Memory. This is a Zygarde EX exclusive tool card. It gives it an additional attack for 4 fighting energy. Geobuster, 350 damage. Discard all energy from this Pokemon. That is a lot better, but it also discards all the energy, so you have to take time powering it back up. But 350 damage, that's literally knocks out anything in the game. With HP boosting, it might be a little bit tricky. Depends on what HP boosting stuff is attached and what's being used, but 350 damage is like, knocks out pretty much anything. It's pretty good and kind of helps the card, but the card itself is still pretty mid. Tarragon, put 4 in any combination of fighting Pokemon and basic fight energy from your discard pile into your hand. It's a good recursion for fighting based decks. Probably going to see playing stuff like Mega Lucario. If Zygarde starts seeing play, it's probably going to see play inside of that. Basically a fighting specific recovery card like we had with Tulip, that was for Psychic, but we also have stuff like Lana, but that can't get back Rulebox Pokemon, but this can. We have Naveen, discard any number of cards from your hand, then draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. It's like okay, I suppose. Rose's Encouragement, you can only use this card if you have more prizes remaining than your opponent. Attach 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to one of your Stage 2 Pokemon. Pretty good. So if you're behind on prizes, you can very easily just get some energy recovery into one of your Pokemon. Probably going to see play inside some Stage 2 decks, especially considering we have a bunch of Pokemon now that can just remove energy from your Pokemon. Seems to be a very common theme with this set. There's a lot of cards that just remove energy. So this is going to be a very nice form of energy recovery. But it's only for Stage 2 Pokemon. So stuff like Dragapult and any other Stage 2 decks that we get in the format. I'm blanking at the moment of what's left after rotation, but it's a good card. And then Justine, as much as I like her design, this card is terrible. Heal 150 damage from one of your Psychic Pokemon. That's not very good, but I'm definitely going to get the full art of this card. And then we only have one stadium, Luminous City, or Lumio City. Once during each player's turn, that player may search the deck for a basic Pokemon and put it onto the bench. Then that player shuffles the deck. If the player uses this effect, their turn ends. So this is basically kind of like Artisan, but it can search any basic Pokemon. The downside being your turn immediately ends after using it. I'm not sure if it's going to see play. Maybe could do, considering that we lose stuff like the TMs for post-rotation. You're not really going to be like going second, using a TM, and then like evolving all your bench Pokemon. You could probably just like set up a little bit. Oh, it's near the end of my turn. I'll use Lumiose to get another bench Pokemon for next turn, and now it's your turn. You do miss out on your attack, I guess, in some instances, but if you don't really have the energy or resources to attack, I guess it's fine. Like early game, it's pretty good. Late game, I imagine it's pretty bad because like it just immediately ends your turn, and in the late game you want to be taking knockouts and winning. It's a pretty decent card. It might see play here and there, it's all up in the air. And then lastly, we have 3 special energies coming in this set. Grow Energy, Telepath Energy, and Rock Energy. So Grow Energy says that this card provides a grass energy while it's attached, and the grass Pokemon this card is attached to gives an additional 20 HP. It's pretty decent. It's also a special energy as well, so do keep that in mind. So special energy removal might see more play in post-rotation. We're giving an additional 20 HP to grass type Pokemon, considering we have some like pretty high HP grass Pokemon in the format and all that kind of stuff. It's going to just boost them up even more. I think it makes Mega Venusaur 400 HP. Telepath Energy provides a Psychic, and when you attach this card to one of your Psychic Pokemon, you can search your deck for 2 basic Psychic Pokemon and bench them. Pretty good. Get an attachment, and then search your deck for 2 basic Psychics, put them onto the bench. Any 2 basic Psychics, it can be EXs, it can be non-EXs, pretty decent. Pretty good. And then we have Rock Fighting Energy. It provides a fighting energy, obviously. It's also a fighting special energy, so with Tyrantrum, there you go, there's your fighting special energy. And then it says prevent all effects of attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon done to the fighting Pokemon this card is attached to. So it's basically Mist Energy, but for fighting Pokemon. It's alright, provides a specific type of energy rather than Mist Energy, which is only colorless. It's still pretty good. And in the future we might get more special energies in this type. We might get a Fire one, a Water one, Electric, Dark, Steel, all that kind of stuff. So something to be on the lookout for in future sets. And that is it for this video. I'm not really sure if this video is going to be as short as I thought it was. My recording time says almost half an hour, but I need to cut out empty spaces and like stuff that I messed up on and all that kind of stuff. Overall, the set, it's okay. It's nothing amazing. I think post-rotation, the game is still going to be a bit iffy. We do lose quite a lot of support. The game's going to be, I think, a lot slower. There are some decks that are still pretty quick. But overall from this set, I imagine stuff like Decidueye is going to see play. Tyrantrum might be a pretty decent rogue deck. Mega Zygarde is something that's like very iffy here and there because it doesn't really have a lot of recursion. It does have a lot of acceleration, but you obviously have that supporter that can get back 4 stuff, but then you need to attach it all again and then get that attack off. But I believe this is only one half of our perfect order set. I believe we also have another set that's going to be released and like combined together like we normally do. Not sure what that set is yet. We'll have to wait and see. But overall the set is okay. It has some good cards and it also has some filler cards. It's okay. And that is it for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments what you think about Nullifying Zero, Munich Zero, Nihili Zero, whatever you want to call it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What cards are you looking forward to from this set? What are you going to be getting from this set? What are you going to be building? How are you going to upgrade your existing decks with stuff from this set? What illustration rares or secret art rares are you looking forward to? I might pick up a copy of the Rose, I've already forgot the name of it, the Rosa card and the Jacine card to put in my collection. We'll have to wait and see. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of that nonsense, and I will see you in the next video, whatever that video may be. Take care.